Hello, y'all. Got a new Hakeem Jeffries video for you from CNN. Jake Tapper pushes House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries on if Democrats should reopen the government in the wake of SNAP benefits expiring and whether Zohran Mamdani will be the future of the Democratic Party if he wins the New York City mayor race this week. Let's check this out.
Americans in several states are headed to the polls on Tuesday, and leaders on Capitol Hill are going to be paying very close attention. Will the election results Tuesday night give either party a clue about how voters feel about the shutdown as it enters week 5? And joining me now is House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Leader Jeffries, thanks so much for joining us. So even these emergency supplemental funds for SNAP, even if they ultimately, the Trump administration ultimately does use them, it's only enough to keep benefits going, food stamp benefits going for 2 to 3 weeks, which is significant, but obviously not a long-term solution. I understand why Democrats are voting against the continuing resolution to fund the government. You're fighting for the extension of the Obamacare premiums.
He's getting ahead of that already.
Medicaid funds. But I wonder, when these SNAP funds are gone, whether this week or 3 weeks from now, if the contingency funds are used, are you worried at all that that pressure point will cause more Democrats to rethink the strategy and maybe ultimately vote for the government funding bill?
Well, we're continuing to make life better for the American people. We want to reopen the government. We want to enact a bipartisan spending agreement that actually makes life better for everyday Americans. And of course, we want to make sure that we can decisively address the Republican health care crisis, which is crushing people.
Republican health care crisis, my ass, dude. Obamacare is not Republicans. That is Democrats. Not a single Republican voted for Obamacare, dude.
Country, including working class America, rural America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities throughout America. It's very unfortunate that Donald Trump and Republicans have decided to weaponize hunger and withhold SNAP benefits, even in contravention of 2 federal...
Oh, Jake Tapper, you better fucking destroy him on this point. I got a feeling, man. I hope he does, because President Trump has already voiced his excitement to fund SNAP benefits after Democrats shut down the government. Not Republicans, Democrats shut down the government.
Which have made clear that not a single person in this country should go without their nutritional assistance, and of course that the funds exist to make sure that those SNAP benefits are paid through November, as has been the case with Donald Trump and his administration finding funding for other projects, but somehow they can't find money to make sure that Americans don't go hungry.
You're refusing to fund the government until Republicans join you to help prevent Americans' health care costs from skyrocketing, as well as to restore some of the money from Medicaid that was cut. I understand why Democrats are making the choice, but you acknowledge that it's a choice here, right?
No, what I acknowledge is that we're asking Republicans to sit down, as we've indicated our willingness to sit down with them anytime, any place, anywhere, either at the Capitol or back at the White House, in order to find a bipartisan path toward enacting a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people.
Look, the Republicans, they've already been clear. Reopen the government and we'll put it on the table for discussion. We'll talk about the whole health care benefits, Obamacare, Affordable Care Act that you all completely ruined over the last 15 years, give or take. And until then, nothing's going to happen, because Democrats, they got the government closed, and Republicans are refusing to play ball by the Democrats' terms because they're hijacking, well, they're not hijacking, they're strong-arming the Republicans into passing whatever it is that they want to pass with regard to the Affordable Care Act, even though it was the Democrats back in 2022 that implemented the 3-year extension for the Obamacare subsidies, which are due to expire in November. Republicans had nothing to do with this. This is 100% on Democrats. And now that the Republicans are in control, the Democrats are trying to masquerade around like, oh, it's the Republicans' fault. They're the ones that control Congress, not us.
Yes, we are committed to doing things like lowering the high cost of living for the American people in an environment where Donald Trump promised to lower costs on day one. But costs haven't gone down. Costs are going up. Housing costs are up.
Biden.
Child care costs are up. Electricity prices are through the roof. And now, because of the
renewable energy
refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, we know that tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, co-pays, and deductibles such that they will be unable to go see a doctor. In some cases, Jake, you're talking about premium increases of $1,000 to $2,000 per month. That is completely and totally unsustainable.
And they have no solutions whatsoever, Democrats. Nothing at all except just to keep dumping money into Obamacare. Just forever. Just keep dumping money as it keeps getting more and more expensive. I believe that Democrats and Obama himself promised that healthcare costs were going to go down when Obamacare was implemented. When was that? Like way back in like 2009 or 2010. And it's only gone up and up substantially. It has skyrocketed ever since Obamacare went into effect. Not a single day has it gone down. So two can play that game, Hakeem Jeffries.
Unacceptable and un-American.
I understand, but the decision to not fund the government means very real pain caused today. People not getting paychecks today and SNAP funds today. And then obviously at airports across the country, delays are getting worse due to air traffic controller shortages. The FAA says that in the New York area, nearly 90% of air traffic controllers are out.
Wow.
The White House says that Thanksgiving travel could be a disaster.
Oh, it will.
If this shutdown continues that long. Are Democrats prepared to keep the government closed through Thanksgiving if it comes to that?
I'm really curious about what his answer is going to be, because you had Senator Ted Cruz today predicting that Democrats are going to reopen the government after the election happens on Tuesday. So we'll have to see what he says.
The question is, why are Republicans continuing to keep the government shut down? They have the House, the Senate.
Oh my God, dude,
and
you
the
really want to go
presidency.
there?
Donald Trump just made clear over the weekend repeatedly that Republicans have the ability to reopen this government. They don't want to do it because they'd rather continue to gut the health care of the American people.
I think he just answered it for Ted Cruz. They're not reopening the government this week. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen next week either. They're going to keep it shut down while blaming Republicans for the shutdown, even though it's crystal clear that Democrats, they're responsible for it. We need 5 Senate Democrats to reopen the government, and they refuse to reopen the government. It's just as simple as that.
And here are some questions that need to be asked. Why have House Republicans remained on a taxpayer-funded vacation for the last 6 weeks?
Because they've been in their local communities organizing food banks. That's why. I played a video on that. Dozens of Republicans, I don't know if 100% of them are, probably not 100% of them are, but a lot of them are in their local communities trying to do damage control over what Democrats have done with the government shutdown.
Keep canceling votes. They've canceled votes for next week. Of course, they are unserious as it relates to reopening the government. Why has Donald Trump spent more time on the golf course, including this weekend, than he has in talking to Democrats on Capitol Hill who represent half of the country? It's because apparently Donald Trump is uninterested.
No, it's because Donald Trump's already been clear with Democrats. He said, I'm not going to meet with y'all until you reopen the government. It's a waste of time. If you're not going to reopen the government, then me sitting with you is a waste of my time. And look, even the president has to have a day off sometimes. Like, I'm sure that Barack Obama, I'm sure quite a sizable percentage of his president, you know what, fuck Obama. What about friggin' Joe Biden? Wasn't like 45 or 50% of his entire presidency spent like with him not in the office, with him quote unquote on vacation? You know, like we had tons of videos of him sitting on that beach in Delaware.
In reopening the government. He doesn't want to stand up for hardworking federal employees. They fired more than 200,000 federal employees prior to them shutting the government down on October 1st. And why are Republicans so unwilling to even sit down and have a conversation with their Democratic colleagues on Capitol Hill in order to find a bipartisan path forward? It's because they are trying to inflict this cruelty on the American people. And Jake, this is a group of folks who passed their one big ugly bill, largest cut to Medicaid in American history.
Fraud, waste, and abuse.
At the same time, they cut $186 billion from SNAP, literally ripped food out of the mouths of hungry children, seniors, and veterans. They did this in July, and that was done so they could reward their
it's because a sizable percentage of people who are currently receiving SNAP benefits, they've implemented a new timeline where they cannot get government benefits for more than 2 years unless there are certain circumstances, such as if you're elderly or if your children are under 14 years old. And by doing that, they were able to slash over $100 billion from the SNAP benefits program.
Their donors with massive tax breaks that they made permanent. And now they're unwilling to extend tax credits for working class Americans.
So you alluded,
it's all unacceptable, and it's obviously part of their plan.
So you alluded to President Trump saying that the Senate Republicans have the power to pass the government shutdown. He's saying that by saying that they should get rid of the filibuster. You're saying that they should get rid of the filibuster?
Oh, I think Democrats would love that.
No, what I'm saying is that that's a decision ultimately for the Senate to make. However, President Trump has acknowledged, listen, from the very beginning of this presidency, he's enacted a my way or the highway approach to jam their extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people.
Such as?
Reckless Republican policies, which are now causing hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers to close all across the country.
No, they actually allocated $50 billion in the One Big Beautiful Bill back on July 4th. They put $50 billion into rural hospitals for funding, and Democrats are desperately trying to claw that away.
Now he's saying to his Republican colleagues, senators, those who actually just work for him because they don't work for the American people, reopen the government, and they refuse to do it.
Big elections coming up in just
2
days.
Come on, Jake Tapper. You should ask him the simple question. Are Democrat senators required to reopen the federal government? Yes or no? Just make it that simple, because the answer is unequivocally yes.
Governor's race in Virginia, governor's race in New Jersey.
Oh, that's frustrating, man. He didn't push on that really at all, did he?
New York. You've already cast your ballot for mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Do you see Mamdani as the future of the Democratic Party?
No, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall, as far as we're concerned, relative to the House Democratic Caucus and members who are doing a great work all across the country as it relates to our need to both take back control of the House, but in doing so, make sure that we're communicating to the American people like we understand you deserve better than the country that you have received.
And of course, he's not going to give you any examples. Like, how exactly are you going to make America better? Are you just going to beef up the entitlement programs? You're going to raise taxes to fund all those entitlement programs, jack up the national deficit like crazy?
Republicans have gone way too far and have failed to deliver anything meaningful for the American people. And as Democrats, we're going to focus on lowering the high cost of living, on fixing our broken healthcare system that Republicans continue to make worse.
And how are you going to do that? How are you going to fix the healthcare system by making it more affordable? Throwing more money at it. And how do you throw more money at it? Raising everybody's taxes even more. That's just the simplicity behind it all. That's all they're going to do. And they have no actual solutions to our healthcare crisis. Nothing whatsoever.
Toxic policies. And of course, on cleaning up corruption in the Congress, in the courts.
Oh, dude, you don't want to go down that road with fucking corruption. Are you out of your mind, dude? With regard to Democrats versus Republicans?
Administration with Donald Trump running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the country. So we're going to continue to affirmatively lean in on the issues that we know matter to the American people. I expect that we're going to see a big night on Tuesday in New Jersey and in Virginia, and certainly as it relates to Prop 50 in California, where we stop Trump from stealing the election. And then that'll lay a foundation for Democrats to take back control of the House in 2026.
Well, I mean, I asked you if Mamdani was the future of the party, and you didn't answer the question. You said the House Democrats are. I would note that at least a couple House Democrats from the New York area are not endorsing Mamdani. Your endorsement took a long time. Schumer still has not endorsed him. Are you concerned about Republicans using him as a lightning rod so as to hurt your ability to win back the House?
Yeah, because Trump did say that if Mamdani wins New York City, that'll be the greatest gift that Democrats have ever given Republicans because of how radical this dude is, how he's going to do freezes on rent, how he's going to downsize the police department, and a whole bunch of other crazy shit that he has planned.
26.
No, the lightning rod in terms of what's going to impact the ability of either side to win control of the House or hold control of the House in 2026 is going to be the failure of Republicans to actually deliver on the promises that they've made and to actively.
So there you go. So just based on that statement, too, that just reaffirms my belief that they want to keep the government shut down for months and months and months. And they're just going to plan. Their big plan is, oh, it's a Republican's fault. It's just their fault. It's their fault. It's their fault. Just gaslighting. Like that's what their big plan is, to win back the House. Just blame the Republicans for everything because that's all Democrats know how to do.
Life worse for everyday Americans. The country knows that we're heading in the wrong direction.
Well, dude, if that were the case, then how come every single county across America went further red in 2024? Every single county. You had Duval County in Florida, which I believe is the blackest county in the entire state of Florida, flipped red for Trump. Miami-Dade County flipped red for Trump. It's all over the country. Even the border counties along Texas and Mexico border, they flipped red for Trump. So if Americans are so well aware that the country's heading in the wrong direction, then why did the entire country move closer red or farther red?
See it repeatedly. The country knows that Republicans have refused to make health care affordable and are actively making it unaffordable, depriving working class Americans of their ability to see a doctor when they need one. And
God, I hope they just run on that. I really hope that they run on that because it is just so obviously untrue. Republicans, all they have to do is just use one word: Obamacare. That's really all they got to say. No, it was Obamacare that ruined the insurance industry. And yeah, some people, they got TikTok brains. Some people, they got goldfish memory. There are going to be some people in these tiny little bubbles in their echo chambers that are just going to believe everything that Democrats say. But anybody else who's actually awake, aware, and paying attention, they know why the health insurance industry is just in absolute shambles right now.
Knows that Republican policies have been all about the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected, and they have not focused on making life better for everyday Americans. We will as House Democrats.
All right, House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries of New York, thank you so much for your time.
All right, well, that was a frustrating interview. I was hoping that Jake Tapper would have pressed him a little more than he actually did, but no, he didn't. That was a little bit frustrating, to be honest, because he has pressed him in the past on that. But anyway, so I've got this from Ken Klippenstein. CNN, Hakeem Jeffries was asked this morning if you're the future of the Democratic Party. He said no, and I thought I heard him say no. His first word out of his mouth when he was asked that question was, no, I think, ... So Zohran Mamdani said, good to know. Do you have a response? So on and so forth. So let's just watch this quick clip here.
Hakeem Jeffries was asked this morning if you're the future of the Democratic Party. He said no.
Good to know.
Do you have a response?
No, I'm focused on the next 2 days.
Do you think you're the future of the Democratic Party?
I don't dare predict the future. That's why I'm out here canvassing to deal with my anxiety to get through the tape of the future of 9 p.m. on Tuesday.
Yep, I don't know, man. I guess we'll just have to see. I don't know. I think Trump's right, though. I think, if he's going to act these policies that he wants to enact, it just may send a lot of rich people running from New York City because they want no part of this. But I don't know, man. We're just going to have to wait and see on that. But so I got this from Scott Bessent. This was on Fox News Sunday this morning. He says, and Scott Bessent, by the way, he's the Secretary of the Treasury, just straight up blasted Hakeem Jeffries. Quote, it's ignorant and it's sad. He has no idea how ignorant he is.
What do you make of his characterization of what happened in China?
I think it's ignorant, and I think it's kind of sad he has no idea how ignorant he is, because I was in the room, and I can tell you I was there for the president's entire trip, and it was a tour de force. President went into Malaysia, signed trade deals, peace deals with Thailand and Cambodia, that everyone in the Asia region wants to be partners with the U.S. We moved on to Japan. The president and the new prime minister of Japan had great chemistry. And then we went into Korea, and the meeting with President Xi was one of great respect and many accomplishments.
Well, and Hakeem Jeffries, he just has a bunch of just fake talking points, propaganda, gaslighting nonsense. I mean, that's really all he's got. But anyway, so this is from New York Post. House Democrat leader rails that Mamdani isn't the future of the party days after endorsing him. And this was published today at 11:46 a.m. Here, let me resize this a little better so it's a little easier to read. All right, so this was, of course, on the interview from this morning. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries smacked down the notion that socialist mayoral hopeful Zohran Mamdani is the future of the Democratic Party, but gave a jumbled rationale for why. Absolutely, he did. Quote, no, I think the future of the Democratic Party is going to fall as far as we're concerned relative to the House Democrat caucus and members who are doing great work all across the country. All right, well, that was kind of a non-answer. I mean, isn't the House Democratic caucus a bunch of fucking socialists anyway? Isn't that what Mandani, isn't he just a freaking communist who's masquerading as a socialist, essentially? So Jeffries had begrudgingly endorsed Mamdani late last month after dragging his feet since June on whom he would back in New York City's mayoral race. And Jake Tapper mentioned that that others in the Democratic Party have not endorsed him as well. So, I mean, he's not hadn't gotten the full endorsement of the Democratic Party, which kind of surprises me, really. The Brooklyn Democrat commended Mamdani for being relentlessly focused on addressing the affordability crisis while acknowledging there will be areas of agreement and areas of principled disagreement. Other bigwig Democrats have refrained from endorsing Mamdani, such as Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and former President Barack Obama, interesting, who reportedly praised him in a recent phone call. Several New York Democrat reps, such as Tom Suozzi, Dan Goldman, and Laura Gillen, have also not given Mamdani their official stamp of approval. Governor Kathy Hochul endorsed Mamdani, but he has so far refrained from returning the favor ahead of her 2026 reelection bid. Republicans have already begun taking Democrats to task over Mamdani, tying them to his far-left agenda, but Jeffries downplayed concerns that a Mamdani victory could pose a significant liability for his party. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I have a feeling it's going to be a major liability, especially once he gets into office as mayor. If he starts enacting these far-left policies that he's been running on, if he just starts enacting them immediately, then we're going to have almost an entire year to see how those policies play out, and it's going to potentially make the Democratic Party look quite bad. No, quote, no, the lightning rod in terms of what's going to impact the ability of either side to win control of the House or hold control of the House in 2026 is going to be the failure of Republicans to actually deliver on the promises that they have made and to actively make life worse for everyday Americans, he said. Mamdani is the clear frontrunner heading into the Tuesday election with the lead in every credible poll and a 14.5 percentage point ahead in the latest Real Clear Politics polling aggregate. The self-described Democratic Socialist has previously trashed Jeffries. Really? Jeffries also skirted responsibility for the government shutdown despite Democrats blocking a GOP-backed clean spending patch to reopen the government from passing the Senate. Well, we're continuing to make life better for the American people, he argued. We want to reopen the government. We want to enact a bipartisan spending agreement that actually makes life better for everyday Americans. Democrats have demanded that Republicans extend the enhanced Obamacare subsidies, which were set to expire at the end of the year because of Democrats. They're the ones that set the clock on that, and reverse their reforms to Medicaid in order to reopen the government. When pressed about whether Democrats were making a deliberate choice to shut down the government in an effort to extract concessions from Republicans, Jeffries rejected the premise. No, what I acknowledge is that we're asking Republicans to sit down in order to find a bipartisan path forward or toward enacting a spending agreement that actually makes life better for the American people. So let me see what this, let's see, if he's previously trashed Jeffries. Zohran Mamdani's digs at Hakeem Jeffries resurfaced as House Dem leader weighs backing socialist New York City mayoral candidate. So that was way back in July. So socialist New York City hopeful Mamdani once implied House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was an Islamophobe and likened the highest-ranking Black House lawmaker in U.S. history to notorious segregationist George Wallace. Wow. The past digs resurfaced as Jeffries continues to drag his feet, on an endorsement after meeting with Mamdani last week for the first time since Queens state lawmaker locked down the Democratic mayoral nod. But anyway, I'll link that in the description, as well as the other New York Post and as well as the CNN interview. That'll all be linked in the description. So anyway, there you go. See you later.